Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Hamilton Icons. I am your host and local real estate agent, Justin Little. Today, I am joined by one of the most energetic guests that I think we will ever have on this show. His name is Adam Oldfield, and he is the president and CEO of Vacu-Man Furnace and Duct Cleaning. Adam, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, Justin. It's so good to be here.
Yeah, this is our second foray into media. We had Cable 14 a few months ago now.
That was good, hard talk. That was good talk. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, I like the energetic side. You're right. Of course, you know what? You did inject me here with a little Java Joe here, so I'm fired up and all ready to running on all cylinders. So we're all set to take it on.
I was really thinking about it on the way in, right? I was like, I wonder if I got to ask him, does he just drink coffee all day, or are you just naturally an energetic guy?
Yeah, I'm water and coffee. I think that's really it. I wake up in the morning, I do my coffee, and fire up first thing in the morning. It's usually my first kickoff is start off with a small cup of coffee. And then we're right around that time right now is where I shut down and I go only water. Now, bubbly water for that, not just this plain stuff, like I got to get the whole bubbles and seltzer kind of feel to it, non-flavored. I just like a little bit of little bubbles, keeps me rolling, keeps the skin nice and fresh.
What's your go-to brand for bubble water?
I actually have my own soda stream. I bought a bunch of soda streams. I got one in my house, I got one at work, and I got these huge soda stream bottles, and then I get the big jugs of water delivered, and I ordered these little pumps that go on top of it, and I just kind of pump up that and fire it up into all bubbles, and I mean, honestly, you don't want to talk to me after a few gulps of that. There's a little belching happening. We won't do that on your show. That's why we're sticking a coffee for you, Justin.
You're Chris Farley coming out there, eh?
It's always coming out. I mean... It usually comes out when I talk about anything. I'm like, actually worse. You don't want me doing an obituary because that's what you're getting. It's be like, and I'm really sorry to lose this person today. Anyway, it's just a natural. Flows as naturally defaulted, as a natural character of mine.
I love it. See, I wish I knew that ahead of time. I would have got you some bubbly water instead of this. Which a few people have commented, you got to get rid of the green, ugly green water bottles. They are hideous. I should get some show mugs, but these are 100% recycled. So.
Well, you know what?
How green we are.
Environmentally friendly, Justin. That's what it's all about. You got to stick to the environmentally friendly. That's all right. Keeps the palate wet. We'll be good.
That's it. So you got a lot of exciting things going on, one of which is the Vacu-Man Furnace and Duct Cleaning.
Yes.
I know normally when people think of duct cleaning, you think of those calls that you get, from those random numbers. People sound like they're not even in the country calling you. Oh, I'm calling for the duct cleaning, and you get bombarded with it. Yes. Obviously, that's not a way that you guys operate. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the company, how you got involved with it, how it got started?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes without saying that, you're correct. I mean, the industry is not one of those top of mind elements. You think of HVAC, you kind of have some top name companies in mind. You think plumbing, sort of the same idea, names you can trust. When it comes to furnace and duct cleaning, though, it's got a bit of a stigma, like you described. It has that feel of, oh, who's this calling? Or, oh, God, it's 6 o'clock. I'm enjoying my dinner. It's backed off a lot, obviously, because of cell phones, but they still, it still happens. So I grew up in the business. My father began it in 1979, and I started when child labor was legal, as I like to refer to it. And so Dad used to wake me up, and that's how I learned the old art of going out, and actually learned how to drive a standard that way, because that's how the trucks actually work. We use a truck-mounted vacuum. So I was probably 13, and my dad would be like, go up and fire up the truck. So I'm up there kind of, I've always been a bit of a tall child. So, I'm in there, here I am, hitting the clutch, hitting the gear shift, firing up to 7,000 RPMs, getting the vacuum up and running, because the truck used to power the vacuum. So it would just move from, anyone who knows mechanics would move from the drive shaft into the vacuum shaft. And then my other job was to crawl underneath and lubricate those U-joints, because they would just wear out, from driving, wetness, whatever. I grew up, grinding away, cleaning, going home. I had garbage in my eyes, soot in my nose. So I ended up, growing up in the industry. I ended up leaving. I worked at the radio. I got an education at Mohawk. Wanted a desk job, to be clear. I did. I worked in radio. I was actually voice of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I was on previously CHML, if anyone remembers that radio station. And then about 2019, I owned my own ad agency as well, and I did a bunch of other business ventures. 2019, unfortunately, my stepmother passed away, and she ran the office, and my father was going to shut it down. And at the time, my wife and I had a conversation about what should we do? I'm an only child, so, can you imagine there was more of me, Justin? Oh my God. You'd be like, holy crap. So anyway, I ended up saying, okay, Dad, well, you know what? I'm going to take this on because you can't keep going. My dad's ready to retire. He was ready to retire even previous. He was hoping to kind of retire. Him and my stepmom kind of go do their traveling or whatever. So I took it on. My wife and my wife was a school teacher, Michelle, so she ended up jumping in. She's vice president. I took on as the president, and we ramped it up and took it from my dad's simple house, which was in Burlington. Ran it out of his house for, it's 45 years. Ran it out of his home, and then we bought a couple more trucks. There was a lot of demand for it. Over the years, we had a great reputation. And, again, what are you getting when it comes to duct cleaning? Is it all smoke and mirrors? So the demand was there. We just needed to offer the equipment to do so. So I ended up getting a couple trucks. We ended up moving it to Hamilton. I'm a Hamilton boy, North End side. I love the hammer. And so we lived there and bought a place where we operate out of. And it made sense because we go to Burlington, Oakville, Brantford, St. Catharines. So we're right on any way you go, you can hop on a highway to get there. And then COVID hit. And that was kind of a punch in the gut, followed by a little smack in the face with a baseball bat. And I bought all these trucks and told no longer am I allowed to operate. And then from that, we were very fortunate that there was an article during COVID in Wall Street that stated that the COVID virus was known to transfer through the HVAC system. At that point, we became an essential service. And we were allowed to fire up, obviously under all protocols of COVID, and we did so. And it was, I hate to say a blessing, but it was a blessing that we were essential and we were able to kind of come out of it a little bit. And we're still recovering. I mean, I was just talking about this the other week. Many people look at COVID as COVID was over. That was way back. Well, COVID was a thing we all talked about years ago. No, it's still like as small businesses, and I'm speaking from my end. Many of us are still we had to buy out the loans. We had to we're still paying those off. It's not over on a small business side, and many closed, right? So we were very fortunate. We've been around a while. So we were, had good capabilities to sink our teeth in and hold out through those tough times. And we've had many tough times in 45 years. And so, we're continuing to develop and grow and build locally right here in Hamilton.
I love it. There's so much I want to unpack from there. So let's start. I guess we'll go from back to finish. So how much did you pay for the article in the Wall Street Journal during COVID?
Well, it all came down to blackmail, Justin. Let me tell you, there was a little story about what I was going to publish, and someone needed to start making some stories up. So no, it was just a fluke, honest. It was there was a lot of talk online. I think it wasn't even the Wall Street. I think it started in China. And they were talking about restaurants and, when there were COVID, where it started, did it start there? And when it began with, it was circulating through the HVAC system or through the air conditioning system, that's when I think it got picked up in the Wall Street.
Nice.
So, that was, I'm going to say we were shut down for almost 6-8 months. Wow. We weren't operating at all, like many companies. And I think it was almost 8 months by the time it was deemed, and the Ford government commented that, okay, you can register yourself as an essential business. And that's, and thank goodness we were rubber stamped on that.
No, that's good. I mean, it seems so essential, right? Because the air quality is so important. And I don't know, maybe it's not, it's more at the forefront now than I think it ever was. People are so much more cautious and conscientious about their air quality, what they're breathing in, and even just the cleanliness of their ducts and stuff, right? You said you used to be the voice of the Tie Cats. Yeah. When was that? I didn't know that.
When was that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, and there's interesting fun facts. Hey, folks. That was I started in radio, 96. Funny story, actually. I was just, I'm a quiet guy. I hate, no one's going to believe that watching this, but I was a quiet kid. I like behind the scenes. I was a computer coder. So when I took radio, it was because I was hoping to get through my first year in radio to go to Wilfrid Laurier for computer science. I didn't want to be in radio. It was just, there was no exams, and my dad was like, you need to get an education. So there we go. When I ended up in CHML, I was working behind the scenes. I did weather traffic collecting for a lot of the big names like Lee Dunbar, Jeff Story, Laurie, Scott and Laurie. Anyway, I worked in the engineering department. And so what happened was I would be asked to go do setup. So I would go to different remotes, set up at car dealerships. This one instance, I was Labor Day game. I think I had only been at the station, I'm going to say maybe a couple months. And my job was to show up, and we had this big trailer, CHML trailer. You might have seen it, folks, if you're from Hamilton. It was a big, looked like a boom box, a big radio stereo trailer. And they'd set it up in the end zone. And I had to stand there and hand out whatever the giveaways. And then I was to go on the field, and I had some gift packs. And at the time, it was CHML and Beverly Tire. Still remember that to this day. It was Beverly Tire. And I walked out on the field, and I'm holding the bags, and I got my CHML jacket, and I'm just minding my own. Todd Crocker at the time was the field announcer. And he came up, and he said, hey, he saw me in the shirt, and it was intended for Jeff Lumby, I think was the morning show host at the time on Y95.3. And he said, hey, you're from the radio station. Here you go. We're about to go live. And Jeff didn't show up. So I'm looking at him, and I've never, I'm in radio, but I'm like behind the scenes. I'm the computer dude. I'm writing macros on WordPerfect stuff. And I looked at him, and he hands me the mic. 20, however many people fit in that stadium at the time, 21,000 or something. And he hands me the mic, and he goes, you're on in 5 minutes. And I remember going, me? To do what? And they had these 2 tractor tires. There was a gentleman and a woman, and I'm holding the gift bags, and whoever rolled the tire the furthest would win. And it was a simple, silly contest, and I had the gift pack. So anyway, sure enough, you hear the PA announcer come on, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're going to go to the center field, and we're going to have Beverly Tire roll with our special guest from Y95 CHML. So they hand me the mic, and I'm like, picked it up, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We're actually in the middle of a mediation. I got John here, and I got Lisa. We're trying to determine who gets the actual divisions in the divorce, and we're going to roll this tire, and whoever gets the furthest takes it all. Are you guys ready? And then 3, 2, 1, and they rolled the tire. And everyone, I don't know whether they thought it was for real or not, but there was a bit of a comical flair to it. So I think the girl, whatever her name was, I don't remember, she rolled it the furthest. And I said, well, there you go. That's how we're going to divide all assets in divorce. Congratulations. You'll also win a prize pack from Beverly Tire and 900 CHML. And I handed her the package, and I could hear a little bit of a chuckle. And I thought, wow, that was fun. That was crazy. And I turned it off, and Todd was looking to leave, and he said, how do you feel about taking over for me? And boom, I became the field guy for the Tiger Cast.
See, right place at the right time.
Right place, right time. Funny segue from that. I was doing the game one day, one of the games, and someone approached me and said, who's my agent? I didn't have one. And she said, would you want to consider acting or consider, doing any of that? And I thought, yeah, sure, why not? I'll try that. Went for an audition, and I got the part for Drew Carey. It was a parody of him. He had a TV show at the time. This is in late mid 90s or something. Went to Toronto, and I filmed. And at the time I had black rim glasses, spike. I actually had a crew cut, and I played Drew Carey as a police officer pulling over Mimi, who was a character on the Drew Carey show. So Mimi pulls over. I'm in a OPP uniform, and the whole scene was, hey, me and her in this bantering contest of welcome to Canada. And I'm going, oh, keep going, writing tickets. It was for CTV or something. Anyway, again, not an actor, folks, but I ended up getting, from that, I ended up doing a YTV show. And then I kind of stepped, so I did radio plus a little bit of acting.
What YTV show did you do?
I did System Crash. I was the coach.
System Crash.
It was
God, that sounds so familiar to me. I feel like I watched that. When was that on?
Well,
I'm going to look it up
late
now.
90s, early 2000s.
I'm going to watch it. You're going to unlock some kind of old memory. I'm going to be watching it on YouTube, but I can't believe this was Adam.
It was a grade 7-8 school. It was where it was taken about a bunch of students that do PA announcements, and I played the coach that knew nothing about sports.
Yes. Okay, I remember the show. Now I'm going to have to watch it and look for you.
Yeah. Well, you'll see me. That's
and
me.
You got into the Chris Farley
Well, Chris Farley came
impressions?
only 2 years ago. And,
okay.
There was one of our friends in Rotary. By the way, folks, I'm also a member of Rotary and president of the Rotary Club this year. One of our Rotarians, his name's Paul Gordon, just randomly emailed me and said, hey, man, there's a part for Chris Farley. impersonator. You do a great job. You should try for this. And again, I'm running the duct cleaning company, and I turned to my wife, and let's say I'm above the age of when Chris Farley passed on. I said, geez, should I do this? And my wife was very supportive. Absolutely. So I did an audition tape, and that was in 2022. And I got the part. I got to play Chris Farley in his documentary. It's called The Dark Side of Comedy. So I got to go to Toronto, and I got to, if you get a chance to see it, I think it's on Vice TV. So, this all is still about duct cleaning. Just in case anyone's, where are we going down this rabbit hole? You opened up a can of worms, by the way, Justin.
This is the part of the podcast, right? It's just bringing it to the fun places.
Yeah. We haven't gotten into the essentials of why you need duct cleaning. But you know what? I'm probably the only guy that can bring some fun and entertainment to your furnace and dog hair and debris and dead mice inside your furnace. This is how we fire it up and make it a little more exciting.
I love it. Yeah, no, that's really cool. I didn't know you got into the acting as well. Like, and you did the Chris Farley thing. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You also mentioned your Rotary, which can be president of this year, and I got roped into being your sergeant at arms, which I'm very excited about.
I'm so proud of you, son.
It's going to be a good, I think we're going to be a good team,
It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting.
And so with the duct cleaning then, I mean, I guess segueing back into that, although I feel like we can talk about all the fun stuff for,
Hey, there's lots to go
so long. So you took it over from your father, but is your father still working in the business? Or
I try not to let him, but yeah, he's still there. He doesn't want to be, but he comes in on those emergencies, big jobs, commercial jobs or complicated ones. Yes, he still helps out, and honestly, I wouldn't be where I am without him. So his insightfulness, and I call him the duct whisperer. I mean, he can just sit there and go, oh, I know what the problem is here. So, I mean, that guy can sniff out anything. And I mean, literally, will sniff and go tell and diagnose what's happening. So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's still in the business. Yeah.
I had a funny smell in my house. It went away, though. I should have had him come over and take a sniff around.
He would. He'd be able to tell where in the duct work. He can assess. I mean, well, after 45 years of seeing every all types of systems, high efficiency, electric. We started in oil. When I was working with them, and now they're all gas or electric or geothermal for that matter. So yeah, he's I still call him in mainly on the commercial work because it's a little more, not complicated, but a little more involved. So you're running from a rooftop HVAC goes into the, where it drops into the, whether it's a restaurant or a big warehouse or office facility. It just takes a little more finessing, if you could call it what it is.
See, I didn't know you did commercial as well. I thought you just did residential.
Ooh.
Is it how much of a mix would you say residential, commercial?
COVID was 80 commercial, 20 residential, and COVID flipped.
Wow.
We did many banks. We did many commercial units, and then when COVID hit, everything was shutting down. And now it's, now we're kind of, I'd say it's probably 60-40, but 60 residential, 40 commercial now. We're almost a half from where we're at.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I mean, I didn't realize about the commercial aspect, but it makes sense to completely do that. Is it different equipment you need for that, or is it all?
Yeah. We have two types of trucks. They're all truck mounted. We have a mobile vacuum system, but it's very rare we use that. That's really in townhomes that are kind of in a complex that you can't park. And, the longer you run your pipe, the less volume of air you're getting. So we have a mobile system that we'll use only rarely if we are in a townhouse complex where the house is less than 1,500 square feet. I have to run a mobile system to it, but most cases we're using our truck-mounted systems. For commercial, we have a very large box truck. It's got about 20,000 CFM at the point of entry, so that's a lot of air sucking in case anyone wants to know. On the ProMasters, they're about 10, maybe 8 to 10,000 CFM. The volume of air. And the process of how we do it is we run the pipe down to the furnace, seal it off, and we turn it on, and you hear a light, kind of whispery air kind of happening. And we're kind of drawing from both air ducts. So you have a cold air or, the return, or depending on who you are and what you want to call it. And then you have your supply, or the hot, where you feel the hot and cold air coming out. We call that supply. So we're drawing in on both sides, and then what you need volume, open airspace to do that. And then what we'll do is we surface vacuum each of the registers, get all the loose stuff that, maybe fell in, swept in, whatever happened. And then what we'll do is we have a 200 PSI air pressure that we blow while the vacuum's on. It blows it down to the main trunk. So every vent and register goes to the basement. And then in the basement, there's two big trunk lines. One's, again, drawing air to the furnace, and the other one's sending air into the house. So all of it falls into the main trunk, and that's where we end up drawing it back. We do furnace and duct cleaning for a primary reason, is that the only time we really try not to do the furnace is if it's a brand new furnace. And even then, you still should clean it because there's still metal shards and things that are being attached at the time. So we'll draw it down to the cold air where it drops. If anyone wants to know where that is, that's where your filter goes. So where your filter is, that's where the air is being sucked in. That's why your filter is always usually the dirtiest, and you should change it every 3 months. If anyone's asking, every 3 months you should do it. Be careful of the big, thick ones. I can't even begin to tell you, especially during this season when it's hot, like during the summer seasons, you get that humidity going, and all of a sudden you get this like, hey, my furnace feels like it's not cold enough. Well, it could be because your furnace is starving for air. If your filter's really thick or full of dirt, dust, dog hair, whatever gets in there, it restricts the airflow. So the best example is turn on a vacuum and then cover the suction on it. You're going to hear it fire up and whine. That's exactly what your furnace is doing. So think of it as you're putting your hand over top of the area where it's sucking in, and it's going to run harder, run more energy. It's going to be tough, right? Mm-hmm. So big, thick filters are usually one of those. Okay, why are they good? Well, they'll catch a little more dog hair, cat hair. Is it really helping in a lot of ways? Yes, but it's also going to get clogged and create more air restriction. So I'm a big believer of the paper 1-inch filters. If you've got them, they're great. Gets as much air in through the furnace. The more air it has, the more efficient it runs. So if you're finding electricity bills are like, whoa, man, this bill is really high. I guess electricity prices are up. You might be just running your furnace really, really hard. And if it does run heavy, and this happened last week, we opened up the evaporator coil, and what we saw was an ice block. The whole thing was frozen because it couldn't get enough air to circulate properly. So once you get the air in, it can now run efficient. Therefore, the air can flow through it. It can send the cool air out. If it doesn't, it just keeps trying to run hot. Therefore, the coolant has nowhere to breathe, and it starts to freeze. So if you're downstairs, check your furnace, by the way. And during this time period, check for moisture. Check on the outside. If you're getting a lot of condensation on the air ducts, if you're seeing it on the side, you should not have any condensation on your furnace. In case you're wondering, well, it's hot out. It's going to be it should be sweating. No, it shouldn't. You should not have any moisture around your furnace.
That's not a real thing. So I feel like that's an old, like something somebody would say that's been in a house for a long time, that's had a house that's maybe always had condensation. It's like, oh, it's just sweating in the summer. But I say, yeah, you know what you're talking about. Holy,
100%.
This is great information. Like, you're even right about so I put a reminder on my phone I change mine every 2 months because I have a dog that sheds a lot. Smart. So I'll do it every 2 months. I do the thin ones too. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about the thicker ones because I had the option for the thicker, and I was thinking, do I do it? Or do I just keep putting the small one in? So I just been doing the small one.
You know what? If you really want to know, and you can, most cases they'll just fit a 1-inch. But if you have space, like if say you had an electric air filter and you pull it out and you want to put a paper one in there, put 2 1-inch filters in. Mm-hmm. That's my recommendation. It still will allow for better airflow. Now, also another point is they're called MERV. MERV is the thickness of the fibers in your filter. So if you go to any store or any HVAC store or online, Amazon, whatever, you'll see MERV, M-E-R-V. I recommend you want probably around a 10. A 10 is the fiber, again, that it allows the airflow through. The thicker the MERV, or the higher the number of the MERV, the thicker the filter is. So if you start to get into MERV, and they do go up fairly high, you get a MERV 16, you're talking pretty much like putting a piece of fabric over top of your furnace. That's how thick it is. It's like, oh, look what it's catching. But again, you're running into this situation. It will run very efficient when it's clean. The minute you start to get dog hair, or you did a renovation, drywall dust, well, that's a topic we'll get to in a minute. It will clog it and create that overrun of the furnace. And sorry, I should have finished this earlier, by the way, Justin. When we're talking about the sweating, if you're noticing you're sweating, during these times of when it got really hot, you get that hot spell, 3 days where it's 40 degrees outside. 2 things. 1, put your fan always on, okay? Don't leave it to go automatic, because what happens is it gets hot, fires up, and your fan starts to burn and starts to flow. Keep it on always on. There's a feature if you have an Ecobee or Nest, whatever, turn on your fan during these really hot times. It keeps the air flowing, also assists with that moisture problem. And the second part is, and this is another thing, if it's 40 degrees outside and you're trying to get your house to like 20, folks, I can't even begin to tell you. We do a house and sometimes they're like, oh, the air conditioning's not working. Meanwhile, they're setting it for 17 degrees and it's 40 outside. Okay? You're not hanging meat. Your house is not a freezer. I know you want it to be, and I know you're just looking to just jump in the freezer and feel the crispness of ice glacier cold air, but it's not going to happen. It's just not. Buy a fridge or get an ice room and go stay in it. So many people during the really, really hot season sit there and go like, oh my God, my AC's not working. Can you feel it coming? Yeah. Can you feel cold air? Well, yeah, it's because it's not meant to hang meat in your living room. So what's reasonable? Probably 6 degrees. If it's 40 outside, you're probably going to get 27 to 28 degrees. And that's cool. That's a cool temperature. So it's usually around 6 to 8 degrees. I can't even stress this. I'm so glad we're doing this because it's probably the number one call I get is, how come I can't, I think my furnace is on the fritz. Well, what's the issue? It's my AC is not working. Well, it's 40 degrees and they want it at 21. Canadians love cool air. Unfortunately, they have to appreciate that when we do get hot, it doesn't get that cool.
That's good to know. Now I'm thinking about it. I think my house is set as a fridge, but we have ours in Fahrenheit, so I can't even. I need your conversion chart on that, Adam.
Yeah, well, I don't do it for my dad was here. That's the only way he talks. He always talks Fahrenheit, and I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's 37. Make sure it's 37." I'm like, "What is that?" No. So I'm a Celsius guy. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to get the old calculators or the AIs to help us, but
It was
help
like
you with that.
one of my clients just got back from Florida, and they were talking about it. Like, yeah, it's 45 up in Canada right now, and they were like, "Oh wow, that's cold." And they were like, "No, it's Celsius, right?" Just the difference there. But yeah, no, I inherited the house that I moved into now. It was set to Fahrenheit, and I just never bothered changing it. And now I've just adapted my whole lifestyle to revolve around Fahrenheit.
So 100 or something like that. Is that where it gets to? I'm not guessing. I don't know what Fahrenheit is. It's minus 62 or 32 plus. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's some old equation you used to have to use. Yeah.
Yeah, but we get those temperature swings. Like, you're right. It just gets so hot for so many days. Like, we're in the middle of one right now, which is great. I love it.
Yeah.
Because we had a really late summer this year, especially all that rain and cold weather and all that.
Yeah. Well, and right now, this is a great time. Have your AC on, and when it hits the temperature, keep your fan always on. That will definitely help with the sweating and the moisture. And what's the worst case scenario? A lot of people don't. Well, what happens? Well, your furnace is an electrical computer right now. All of them. So the issue is that if that moisture hits that circuit board, boom, she's gone, and you got nothing. So it's a motor. It runs off electricity. And again, I'm not an electrician, but I can tell you that I've been told water and electricity don't really like each other, especially in your furnace. So it happens where people blow a motor, blow their circuit board, and they're not cheap. You're looking at about, 300, depending on what model you have. It could run you up to $1,000 to $1,500 to replace that.
Yeah, it's great. It's expensive. I just had to put a brand new AC in, and that wasn't cheap. I remember, 10 years ago putting an AC in on one of my new, but it was like $2,500 or $2,200. Now it was over $5,000. Like, it's crazy for a mid. If it wasn't even high, it was high efficiency, but it was like a mid-grade. Yes, it wasn't a high end. I know when we were on Cable 14, you were talking about some of the crazy things you found in ducts over the years. Yeah. What do you find in there? Like, people have no idea that stuff, even if it doesn't smell, maybe, like, does it always smell? Does it not? Like,
it will in most cases, depending on where it is, right? When we're talking about what's in there. Well, in the last 2 months, we found a whole, swarm of dead ants. So, and I mean a pile of them, just sitting there in the cold air. Now, they're carpenter ants, and what happened was it was a cold air return where it had wood, and their carpenter ants are nesting inside. They get inside the air duct, and then they die in a pile. Mainly mice, rats. We actually opened up a furnace. If you go to our website or check us out at Vacu-Man.com, I have some of the craziest photos, and one of them, my craziest, was we opened it up, and it was full of acorns. I mean, full. Packed as if someone took a bucket of acorns and poured it right inside the furnace, and a squirrel got in there and decided to herd all of its nuts right in the furnace. So I found magazines. I mean, some things from the 70s. We found a Molson bottle, a Stubby, like from 1970. And it was like, hey, how's it going? Hey, remember that on Bob and Doug McKenzie? It was like, okay, where's your Stubby? Eh? So that was in there. That was pretty cool. Yeah, we found all sorts. Mainly when it comes to the animal side, it's going to be a squirrel, an ant, or a rat. Those are the primary. If you notice there's a smell, and many people get it confused, they might turn it on and think, oh no, I got a dead mouse in my furnace, which it's going to be likely that could be the case. What tends to happen is that if we had one circumstance where it was raccoons actually passed away, but they didn't die in the air duct. See, when your furnace fires on, as I mentioned, it sucks air from the house to go in to circulate. What happened was the raccoons actually died in the wall, and it was near a cold air return. So what was happening was every time the furnace fired up, it was sucking the air in, and unfortunately, the odor of the decaying animal was getting drawn through the whole air duct system. Now, I think my dad actually, using the sniff test, was actually... Yeah, and he was like, it's like watching a hound dog, kind of going, this is where it's coming from. It ain't your air ducts. So my dad, if my dad watches this, thank God he's not technologically advanced. He'd be like, I don't sound like that.
He probably sounds exactly like that.
I don't know. I'm doing a horrible impression of my dad, just to let you know. So if anyone's watching my family, I'm sorry, Dad. I love you. So anyway.
I was going to ask, how you found that raccoon, but I guess that's how he did it. He sniffed it out.
Well, and again, he knew, and he's pretty astute. So I call him on those kind of like, hey, Dad, we have a problem. We're trying to find it. We can't see anything. We use, we have scopes and stuff. We'll scope the air duct, and we're like, where is this coming from? And that's when he said, check the wall. Something. I'm like, yep, sure enough, it was in the drywall, and determined it was actually in the drywall. It was like a townhouse where in the basement, they had like a drywall between the two basements of the units, and in the house or in the basement of the neighbor is where I guess they fell in through the chute by the furnace, and they ended up passing away. It was a bunch of baby raccoons. And so when her furnace was firing up, it was drawing in from her neighbor's basement. So it could be any of those circumstances that happen, particularly right now in the humidity and the heat. They may, they get stuck in the air duct system, or they fell in. If you've got an older home, like I said, carpenter ants, they might have chewed through and created access to it. So, and mice can squeeze through anything. Mm-hmm. So normally they try not to get into the air duct system. And if they are, they're trying to get to somewhere. They're not living there. In most cases, they're not trying to make a nest. They usually will, either if you poison them, they might find access to it and then pass on.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. How often do you recommend people get the ducts cleaned?
We usually say every 3 to 5 years on, and again, that is subject to renovations. If you're doing any renovations, you should have it done, especially drywall. That stuff is so fine. It's getting in the system. And the minute it gets through your air duct system, I can't even stress enough with drywall. As I mentioned earlier, it will coat your furnace filter, and it will get through. So it could get on your blower fan. But worse is it gets in your evaporator coil. So your evaporator coil sits on top of the furnace. Now, it may be in a V, it may be in an A frame, and what tends to happen is drywall dust gets in there, and it will get underneath the evaporator coil. Well, evaporator coils are hot and cold. What happens is that drywall dust becomes gummy, and then it becomes just a layer thick. So every 3 to 5 years, renovations subject is definitely, you should do it usually after you're done. And I also want to comment that don't do your house cleaning. Do your duct cleaning first, then house cleaning. Many people get their house cleaned and then call and say, oh, I want my ducts cleaned. Okay, well, no matter who's doing it, we're agitating the system. So it is not a perfect situation. It's like when you're sweeping the floor, you're going to rise the dust, and or vacuuming, you're going to pull it in, you're sucking it up, and dust will be agitated and then settle afterwards. So it's very important that you do the duct cleaning, then go in and get your house cleaners or whatever, go dust and do your cleaning afterwards.
That's good to know, especially with the drywall dust, because that does get everywhere. Like,
100%.
They just finished renovating this podcast studio, and I feel they left equipment out over there, and I just saw the camera over there, which I don't use, but I just looked, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know that thing's going to work.
And
it's just everywhere on everything. I had to wipe all this down. Didn't do a great job, but I was like, oh, I showed up and it was pretty dirty.
Yeah, you did pretty decent.
So
yeah. No, drywall dust is the absolute worst. Absolute worst. It gets in there, and yeah, it's like a layer that just sticks to the ductwork, especially like we say, if you have moist in this kind of like heat, hot, cold situation, yeah, you're just adding more thickness and gumminess to it.
I love it. I love how passionate you are about this and how knowledgeable you are too.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know if that's a good thing, Justin. I mean, there's certain things you want to be knowledgeable about. You know, like I'm one of those guys that just, I unfortunately, that's what my dad and I do. We'll have a beer and we talk duct cleaning, right? It's kind of like, well, what'd you do today? Yeah, had a mouse, Dad. Really? What'd you see? How many? One? No kidding. I remember 1986. It was like, oh yeah, duct cleaning tales.
it's the old duct cleaning war stories. But I want to talk about Rotary too, because you're like an absolute machine. I find when it comes to doing anything, you just get in, get it done, keep moving forward. Like that energy is contagious, and I feel like it's so fresh, especially now being involved in Rotary and that. So you're president this year.
I am.
I missed the induction ceremony. I'm sorry for that. I was in Halifax,
right.
but it was. I heard it was really fun. So what are some of the plans that you have for Rotary? Can you just touch on people what Hamilton Rotary is?
Absolutely. I'm really glad. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone. Everyone should know that this gentleman is my sergeant of arms, and I say only, but he's been a member in it's been a year now. Over a year. And gun-ho, super kicking ass, taking names, Justin Little, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing awesome. Now, what is Rotary? Rotary is a club that's been around since 1913. In fact, we're the third oldest club in Canada. It started in Chicago. Paul Harris, the founding father of Rotary. And the whole idea behind it was there's the four-way test. I'm getting into all that right now. But it's about fellowship, connection, business relations, but at the same time, given to our community and worldwide. So there's a lot of great programs. So as an example, it was Rotary as a group collectively that helped eradicate polio. And polio was a horrible, horrible disease. In fact, one of our members in Rotary, Joan Heels, amazing Dr. Joan Heels, was very much affected by polio. So she's very, very close to her heart. Now, she grew up where it was a concern and a big issue. And now we are, so close to eradicate. It's starting to rise again, especially in Afghanistan and Gaza. Really starting to, in countries where there isn't the capability of being vaccinated, Rotary as an international group has done some really good programs. So eradicating polio that's a big thing. That's great. On the local level, grassroots, it's about our own community. And that was one of the reasons that I really got behind it, was that I'm all about networking. I love meeting with like-minded entrepreneurs, even people in public service or otherwise. And again, I'm a Hamilton true blue boy, lunch bucket, if you will. But I love the community. I love what this city stands for and what it's all about. And so my draw to Rotary was that we have a focus on children's literacy in our club specifically. So, and I'm an advocate of obviously literacy, because literacy is the foundation of education, and the foundation of education you can be able to produce, whether you're in any profession, whether you're trades or otherwise. So, we've been involved with the Kathy Weaver School. That was a great program. I was always volunteer. I got involved with Rotary way back. Even I was at CHML actually when I first engaged with his name's Alex Morose, past president and very good friend. And Alex and I met. He was running his own business. I was in radio, and we kind of connected. And then he drew me in to help out with Rotary, where I would volunteer, MC, support, whatever. And then probably mid 2000s, we did a Rotary auction on Cable 14, and I did a lot of that where I would auctioneer, and then I saw the real what Rotary did. So the money, 100% of the funds coming in go right back into the community. So that was a big touching point for me. The Christmas Tree of Hope, which I actually was very much involved. I was the chair of it when CHML was stewarding it, and our club stood up and took over when CHML went down. So that was, you asked what are our visions of our club moving forward. So we just adopted the Christmas Tree of Hope in Operation Santa Claus last year. And this year we're going to ramp it up to our full year of operation. And that also plays very close to my heart, because, that has many, many, many charities that need support, programs that really go out and help our local community. So that was my big drive behind it. And, with Rotary, it was, like I say, fellowship is great and we do some good things. So we clean up a park, we help the kids, we give them a book, we help them with a free summer camp, which is a program that we've supported for many years, 100% free. So no matter your financial situation, we're sending a kid to camp, and that situation lends itself as well to be, hey, nothing's, what's a kid got to do in summer? They want to have a good time. And, I felt that was another really great program. So this year, my intention is we're going to ramp up the Christmas Tree Hope Operation Santa Claus. We're partnering with the Shriners and with Moose Lodge, taking 2 service clubs, and we're just going to pack that into one nice cookie. And what we're going to do is we're getting a provincial license, which we're just in the process. By August, we're going to be selling Catch the Ace tickets with an intention our goal to raise over $1 million that we can split amongst each of our service groups. And then I've got a big vision push to let people know what Rotary is. So I'm getting back to trying to talk to some great organizations that used to be a part of our club, and we're working right now to bring them back. So the YMCA is joining us and being a part of it. We call it the Legati. I call it the Imperium Legati. Now they're like fancy Latin to give it that kind of spit and polish, but it basically is Latin for legion or ambassadors. So the YMCA is on board. We're speaking with the police. We're talking to the deans at the schools. We're talking to great programs and supporting the next phase of bringing in great speakers. So, one of the things is we meet weekly, and if you can, great. If you miss it, it's not a big deal. We ask 2 things. One, can you donate time, donate money? I mean, those are really 2 things for Rotary that you can really be. What's it take to be a Rotarian? Really, the volunteer is what we really seek. The money is nice but we can raise money many ways. So, get out there hands-on and be able to connect. So I'd like to bring the fellowship up a level this year. So in my presidency, that's going to be one of my biggest pushes. Bring people awareness to what Rotary is. What is this? What are you all about? What is it? Just a bunch of people getting together at lunch and kumbayaing and cheering? And no, it's about having a lunch, having great speakers, and So who do we have? We have politicians coming. We have great organization leaders that are going to be speaking. We'll have leaders in native centers that will be coming out. So you're getting really good information about what's happening in our community with the people we're bringing in.
I love it. Like, it's so well said, right? Because even Rotary, I wasn't sure before I even joined, right? I didn't understand the magnitude and the impact that it actually has on the community in Hamilton, this specifically. Because you're right. You think, okay, is this just like a networking lunch? You get together, you're going to have lunch, listen to speakers, right? And then that's pretty much it. But the impact that it has and the dollar amount is so impressive. I think one of the other things too is it's like 100% volunteer run.
Yes.
Right. So all the money raised it goes out, right? It's not like other organizations that might have people on payroll. They got to pay staff. They got to do that, which nothing wrong with those organizations either. Right. But I just like that when you are donating, that money is going directly to affect something. That's right. When I did the Christmas, I was on the committee for the Christmas Tree of Hope. Mm-hmm. That was incredible to be a part of it, just to see, because I was getting the emails from all the organizations that needed toys, and you just hear the stories, you see the organization, you see the number of people, and you think, wow, it really helps you realize how lucky growing up, that kind of stuff that I didn't have exposure to, that my parents didn't have to worry about. And you see, so it's nice to be able to do that, to get the toys, to raise the funds, just to help those organizations, and then doing a lot of fun stuff throughout the year, like even that Kathy Weaver Christmas dinner for those kids, holiday and whatever it is, right? Was unbelievable, just that experience, right? To feed all the kids at that school. It's an event, like a 1-day event that we go in, everybody gets a present, everybody gets a Christmas or holiday meal.
Yeah. And no religion associated. We have a halal, we have, so that's another thing I love about Rotary, is that politics is out of it. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter what your politics is, and it doesn't matter your religion. And that's that. And I love that, because I'm pretty bipartisan myself. I'm like, I'm not going to cut anyone with my opinions or views. And that we're all believing in the best things, of which, and I think that's my draw to it now, is that you're right. 100%. You feel grassroots, you're giving. So many of us are like, I how can I help? Or what can I do more in my community? Or what programs can I do? And, and you may go out and do a soup kitchen, or you may, and that's phenomenal. What I liked about what we do as well is that we're really hitting the kids. I mean, it's really about the kids. And I mean, most recently, not just about the kids. I shouldn't just say that. We did the meals outreach program, which was in Gore Park. It was our Rotary Club that actually assisted with the Burlington Rotary, putting together the funds, and we actually got the van that helps distribute thousands and thousands of meals each week to people that not necessarily are homeless. They're just struggling to afford to eat. That's such a crazy thing to say in Canada, but that is one of those situations that is a reality. So, those are the kind of things I think I take into heart is like, what do you do at Rotary? What don't I do? And it's not me, it's a very much, like you commented, it's a team effort. So, as I may be president, I'm just kind of setting the strategy, setting the message and branding and otherwise, but it's really grassroots yourself, steward. I could go through the whole Rotary Club membership. And I think the other thing is we got really good people. And I know right now in this day and age, we're so into the social media and maybe even as they're watching this, they're like, how far do, okay, you're done it. Moving on. Entertain me. Oh, okay, moving on. There's a little bit of grassroots networking where you're actually having a conversation, having a laugh, talking about life. And I feel that's a bit of a loss right now. We used to, I think I took it for granted when I grew up in the 90s. That's kind of what you did. Sat in a basement or, I was a teenager, sit in a basement with your friends, have a drink, watch whatever X-Files on Friday, and that was your thing. You kind of chatted. Now it's like my daughter even texts me and she's in the next room. I'm like, I'm right here. What are you doing? And she'll respond by a text. Hey, Dad, sorry. Answer me. Just speak. So anyway,
it's so true though.
Yeah.
And even so many entrepreneurs now, I feel like it's small business owners or people that could be in a benefit of networking. You rely so much on social media and that electronic communication. I feel like it's almost a lost art of going somewhere, meeting with people and having these conversations, right? And I also like that is a part of Rotary, but I like that it's not the full focus like other organizations where you're going there and the expectation is to network and give business. Like part of the reason I got involved was I wanted to do some volunteering, and I thought, well, what am I going to do? I don't want to start something. Rotary's involved in so many things. I can just sign up, join the machine, and just start jumping on the activities. I thought that's what I would do. I don't want to get too involved. Now I'm Sergeant of Arms. However that happened. It's a gate, as I always say, it's a gateway position, right? You get me hooked on the council, and now.
That's right. You miss a meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I became president. It's kind of like I show up. I'm like, President Adam. What? Hold on. What? I'm sorry. I wasn't feeling well last week.
No, I think you're going to be a great president. Laura was a great president too when I joined. Yeah. So very, like you said, very lucky to have the people that are there because the people care. Everybody cares that's there. You got the volunteers. I'm looking forward to the speaker lineup next year. So It's really exciting. Anybody that's thinking of doing any volunteering, Rotary is one of the best experiences that I've had. And I highly recommend, even if you don't join to do the weekly meetings, just there's always volunteers needed on events and stuff.
Absolutely.
Right?
You can, or join as a friend. I mean, we call it Friends of Rotary. I mean, if you're thinking, is this something I want? Call it like testing the waters. That you can be a friend of Rotary. Friend of Rotary is really where you get collaborating and networking with our local club. When you become a full Rotarian, you have full access to the machine, like you said, right? And again, some of the programs that our club did in the last year is we helped actually build a library in Liberia. That was our club. So, we're not in, I've never been to Africa. I've never been to Liberia, but one of our members, Leo, is phenomenal. It was a program that was close to his heart. And he's been very much the machine in helping getting all the funds. And our club was very much instrumental in assisting and helping put, I think we got the solar panels to help with the electrical aspect of it. But there, we put $100,000 of fundraising out into that program, while we're still helping here. So I there's usually that, why are you helping them? We have people here. Absolutely. That's where our focus is, but we also can contribute through international programs. Another great thing about Rotary that I discovered, and you will too, Justin, is, there are so many Rotary clubs, and when you go to another club, it is really cool. I mean, I went to Buffalo, and it was, I thought I'm going to go to the Buffalo Club. It was they're actually older than us, and it was really interesting. Some of the people you're meeting, some of the individuals, and again, not a member of Buffalo, but it was really cool. I got to meet some really interesting high leading operators, and you know, and it's opened so many doors for me. Not from a business, just from a fellowship side. So it comes with a bit of a badge of recognition. You know, to be a Rotarian, it's not for granted. It's not a, hey, I paid my member, I'm a member, that's great. It's actually very well respected worldwide. You know, Disney has a membership, has a club. Vegas has a club. You know, like, go to any of these and you're welcome to them. And it is quite very, very cool experience. That was my first kind of eye opener of like, all right, what's this Rotary all about? Let me go to a few clubs and check. And it was really, hey, welcome. You're introduced, everyone. Yeah, it's like meeting your best uncle and then him introducing you to all of his business associates. It's like, this is really kind of cool. How are you? You know, I was like a little kid meeting all my superheroes. So
I love it. I didn't know Vegas had a club. I think we have to do a road trip to the Vegas Rotary Club just to see how they operate.
Oh yeah, well, again, it's pretty high. Those are like all the casinos are a member of it. And Disney, yeah, it's in Orlando. Yeah, has a Rotary Club, and it's cool. When you're a member, you get Bahamas has it. I think there's one in every country. 38,000 clubs around the world. You can go to a Rotary Club.
It's amazing. It's just so impressive. I love it. I'm so happy to be a part of it and everything that that it's doing, and then hopefully be part of the future growth of it and stuff too. And
absolutely, yeah.
I was gonna say take the baton from you guys, but I really don't want to get higher up the sergeant of arms. But I already know I'm there, right? And that's another thing too. When people can come out to a meeting if they just want to see what it's like as well, right? You don't have to be a member to come to a meeting and test it. Yes. I know we've seen people come in and then eventually join if it's a good fit. So
absolutely,
yeah.
I'd invite anyone that wants to check it out, or even just reach out. I mean, we'll be happy to answer questions, and you know, and if anything, you get to meet some really phenomenal people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you get lunch, which is good. That's always a bonus.
I do not miss a lunch. Let's just call it what it is.
I love it. Adam, thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy, so I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and do this. It means a lot.
Thanks, Justin.
Awesome. Everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.